Good morning, folks, and welcome to Power to Negotiate. Today's session is going to be on trust and establishing trust. Now remember, we started at the very beginning talking about establishing credibility. Credibility means that whatever we say we're going to do, we're going to do. Trust is something different. Trust means that they trust us enough to believe that we will do the things that we say that we'll do. And one of the best ways to establish trust is to remove their need to trust us. You can say, Reed, I don't understand that. What exactly do you mean? If we're going in to talk to a seller, their first thought is, this person's going to steal from us and they're going to hurt me. So, how do we structure the deal so that they don't get hurt? What if we structure the deal so the worst case scenario is we do exactly what we said we would do? Would that be okay? Great. How do we do that? Let's assume that we go in to talk to the seller and we've established their motivation. And remember, motivation is they have a dreadful alternative. Something bad is going to happen to them if we don't help them. Number two, they have a time crunch, which means that they have to do something, they have to do it now. And number three, they have pain. So if they have all three of those, we can talk with them. If they don't have any of those three, we're probably wasting our time. Now, do you want to waste your time talking with someone? If you're already out there, you can go forward, you can think of this as practice. But probably you're not going to get the deal. So as I start to talk with them, I find out what their needs are. And one of the biggest things I'm looking for is, what is their biggest concern? What is their hot button? Because that hot button, the thing that they're really concerned about most, is the one I want to worry about the most. So if they're worried about, if I sell you the property, how do I know that you're going to be making the payments? If they're worried about that, can we structure a deal so the payments are made to an escrow company and they get a little statement saying that the payments have been made each month? Would that work for them? Yeah, that would work. If they're worried about, what about if I do this, I'm going to lose my depreciation. If we could structure this deal so that you wouldn't lose your depreciation, would that help? Okay, great. What if they're worried that they're going to lose their interest expense on their income taxes? If we could structure a deal so that you were able to still write off your interest expense or your income taxes, would that help? Great. What if they don't trust me? Mr. Seller, what would happen if I structured this deal so that your name was still on the title and someone else was making the payments? So that if a bus hit me and I was not able to complete this transaction, that you'd still be in better shape than you are right now. Would that work for you? Great. What have you just done? You've removed yourself from the equation so that you've structured the deal so that worst case scenario, you're going to do exactly what you said you would do. Best case scenario, you get run over by a bus. Hopefully we don't get run over by a bus, but we structure the deal so that they are not hurt in any way possible. If we do it that way, can they pretty much trust us? Yeah. Okay. How do we do that? We're going to lease option the property where the seller's name is still on the title. Because the seller's name is still on the title, every year their mortgage company is going to send them a little letter stating that they had this much in interest expense. Guess who gets to write that off? They do. Every year they're going to be able to write off their depreciation because it's a rental property. So guess who gets that depreciation? They do. And we're going to have the tenant buyers in the property, and they're going to be making the taxes, the insurance, and the mortgage payments each month. As they do that, if the sellers are really concerned, we can have the payments being made through an escrow company so that each month these sellers are able to see that the payments have been made. Would that work? The other thing we want to do is we want to make sure that the insurance is always maintained. So if the house burned down, the sellers are made whole. Now if the sellers want additional insurance so that it keeps up with not just the mortgage, but also with the value of the property, they can pay for that themselves. but you want to make sure that you're covered. Okay, if we structure the deal that way, we've just removed their need to trust us from the equation. What is another way that we can get people to trust us? What happens if they don't believe a word that comes out of our mouth? Easy. Don't have words come out of your mouth. You say, Reed, what do you mean by that? I want to be asking questions so that they tell me things rather than me telling them something. Why? Because every time I tell you something, it might be a lie. But every time you tell me something, it's going to be the truth, at least according to you. So your job is to ask questions and to get them to tell you most of the information that you need. Because you already know what your plan is, and you just want to see if it would work in their circumstance. If it won't work for them, folks, I've got a great deal, but it's not going to work for you. Okay? What is another way that we can establish trust? It all comes back to credibility. You want to establish trust by establishing credibility from the very first moment that you meet them. You want to have the proper attire. I typically like to wear a tie. I hate ties. Ties make me crazy. But a tie establishes credibility. I want to be dressed in a nice shirt. Don't be dressed in something casual like this. I want to be wearing nice slacks. I want to have my car washed. You don't have to have a Lexus or a Porsche. You just want to have a clean car. When I go out to meet them, I want to be carrying a brief so that I have all my papers with me. And I want to always have a pencil and a notepad, or a pen and a notepad, so that as I'm talking to them, I can write down a lot of information. Because if you're talking to someone, and as you're talking to them, they're looking away, they're bored, they're doodling, they've just totally irritated you because they're not paying attention. But if you're talking to someone and they are writing things down, they're just fascinated, and they ask you questions to clarify what you mean, and wow, this is really good stuff. How do you feel? Your ego is inflated, and you feel they're really paying attention to you. You want these people to believe that you're the answer to their problems, because guess what? Pretty much you are. And in conclusion, every time you talk to someone, what you want to do is you want to find out what their needs are and match up their needs with your benefits. That's the best way to get them to trust you.